Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to an episode of Bull Reviews Anime. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about an anime called ReZero, R-E-Zero. ReZero, I believe, is a 25 episode series, and we are currently on episode 15. So this is a series that, obviously, I've already started watching. I started watching it back 3 months ago. I really enjoy it. It's darker than I normally like, but I think it's a lot of fun and it's really interesting. The basic premise of the series is that this kid, Subaru, he gets sucked into a fantasy world. Subaru, one day he's going out to the store and he goes to cross the street and all of a sudden, boom, he finds himself in Fantasyland. And Subaru, of course, is your standard protagonist of this type of series, in which he's a NEET. It largely means he's considered kind of an outcast of society, doesn't leave his house much, doesn't socialize much, or whatever. And we get some indications that Subaru's actually fairly sociable and stuff throughout this, because he's a really friendly guy. He's friendly, he's upbeat, and he's initially excited to be transported into this fantasy world. His excitement is somewhat short-lived, though, because unfortunately, he runs afoul of some thugs and gets himself killed. However, he finds that he has a special ability. Whenever he dies, he resets to effectively a save point. The save point can move at certain points, but basically the series is usually him attempting to do something and dying over and over and over again until he figures out how to pull it off. So, it's kind of video game-ish, like, especially those old Nintendo games where you were trying to figure out the exact patterns you needed to do or whatever to get through a maze or get through something. And early on, Subaru meets a half-elf named Amelia, and he saves her. And that's kind of his original ultimate goal. Then there's a second goal where there's a whole bunch of other, a second arc where there's a bunch of other stuff going on. And it turns out that Amelia is one of 5 potential candidates for basically Princess of the Realm or something along those lines. But she's got some strikes going against her because she's a half-elf with white hair. And those are, half-elves are really rare, white hair is even rarer. And unfortunately for Amelia, there is this witch that everybody basically considers to be like the ultimate evil. She's the ultimate boogeyman. But apparently this witch is also a half-elf with white hair. So everybody pretty much assumes that half-elves are automatically evil. It's just one of those, it's an association thing. So Subaru is constantly trying to help her and constantly trying to support her and save her and stuff. Unfortunately, things don't work out so well. Couple of episodes ago, he had a fight with Amelia to a certain degree. She basically tells him off because he kind of sticks his nose in a little too far into the whole princess procession thing. Ends up dueling another knight for one of the other princesses, getting his butt kicked. And she's upset with him because she had asked him not to come along. She wanted him to stay and heal because he'd damaged his mana reserves. He's learned to cast a little bit of magic, but unfortunately he's not real good at it, and he kind of hurt himself. So she wanted him to heal, she wanted him to stay here and help, and he kind of ignored everything she said. So she's mad at him, so he's kind of stuck healing, and everything's been kind of going bad for him. He's just been having a bad few episodes. And things don't get any better this episode. The very end of last episode, there's 2 other characters, Rem and Ram. Rem and Ram are a pair of twin demons. And there was a whole big story with them. But Subaru went out of his way to save Rem a number of episodes back. And she's kind of latched onto him, so she's helping him out. So while they're healing up and everything, she gets a premonition last episode that something bad is happening back at the castle. So they rush off to go there. However, Rem, knowing that Subaru's kind of hurt and stuff, and she doesn't want him to get hurt any further, leaves him behind, and she goes to the castle alone. Subaru wakes up, figures out that she's gone, and goes chasing after her. He reaches he reaches the village out near the castle where Amelia's been staying, where Rem just went, and everybody in the camp is dead, or everybody in the village is dead, and Subaru starts to break. He reaches the castle, and he finds Rem dead. And that's where last episode ended. This episode picks up with him kind of going through the castle and basically finding everybody else dead. And then he finally gets down to the bottom of the castle. He goes down to the cellar, and it's kind of like this whole liquid nitrogen thing going on. He goes to open a door, and when he touches it, his fingers snap off, and then he basically just freezes solid and breaks apart. So then he wakes back up, reset a few days earlier, back before they left for the castle. And Subaru spends most of this episode effectively just completely snapped broken. He's basically a zombie for most of it. He just kind of just goes catatonic. Rem doesn't know what to do, so she decides she's going to take him back to the castle. So they start traveling. Along the way, they get ambushed by these robed cultist figures. And we've seen the cultist figures a couple times before. One, Rem and Ram's village of demons had been attacked by these cultists when they were kids. Last episode, we actually saw the cultists show up. They kind of ringed in a circle around Subaru and then vanished. And we didn't really know what was up with him. This time, they actually ambush the cart that they're traveling in, killing effectively the horse, which is actually what they call a ground dragon, this big lizard critter that's pulling the wagon. Kill that, wreck the wagon, and they start attacking Rem. Rem starts fighting them off, but they grab Subaru and book. Subaru wakes up, and he's still kind of catatonic, but he wakes up, and he's been chained to a wall, and he meets Betelgeuse. Betelgeuse calls himself the Archbishop of Sin of Sloth, serving the witch. And he's the leader of all these cultists, and he is mad as a hatter. He makes the Joker look a little bit sane. He is just batshit insane, and it's really funny and really terrifying. He rants and raves a little bit, but there's a point that was really interesting because he refers to Subaru as Pride, and of course, he refers to himself as Sloth. But he's kind of confused as to why Subaru isn't serving the witch. So there may be that's I'm thinking a big clue as to something about what's going on, and maybe the source of Subaru's power. There's also been this long running thing where Rem and Ram can smell a scent on Subaru, and it's the scent of the witch is what they refer to it as. They don't know exactly what's going on. It caused problems when Subaru first showed up at the castle, though, because they actually kill him a couple of times before he finally convinces them that he's harmless. So he's tied up. Rem gets she shows up to try to rescue him, but she just gets brutally murdered. I mean, it's painful to watch. And Subaru's still mostly snapped. He's chained to the wall, though, and he just kind of goes berserk, and he's trying to escape, but he can't. Betelgeuse just leaves Rem there, and he wanders off. They go off to attack the castle. Rem isn't quite 100% dead. She's only mostly dead. So she manages to use a little bit of magic to break Subaru out of his chains. He carries her and then he picks her up, carries her again through the village full of dead bodies to the castle, and this time he sees Ram dead, Ram's sister. There's a lot of other dead cultists all over the place, and there's snow everywhere. So again, we've got a cold motif, and there we see a giant, looks like a giant cat wolf monstrosity thing kind of rising up from behind the castle, just enormous. And I saw somebody suggest that might be Puck. Puck is Amelia has some sort of magic. She's got healing magic, but I don't remember exactly what they refer to her as. But effectively, she gets her magic from spirits. And she's got this companion spirit, Puck, who's this little flying cute cat. Cat spirit thing. And Puck's really cool, and Puck's a lot of fun. So I've seen some suggestions that this might be Puck kind of going completely apeshit because Amelia's been killed. And he's causing the ice storm or something like that. But the last thing we see is basically Subaru kneeling on the ground, dead bodies everywhere. He turns to look at Puck, and then he starts freezing over and his head falls off. So that's how the episode... Well, the episode ends there, and then after the credits, we see Subaru respawn, effectively. So, and Subaru is pissed. Unfortunately, Subaru really doesn't have much of the way of combat powers, so it'll be interesting to see how this goes. ReZero is fantastic. It's a really interesting show, but it's also a little dark. Like I said, it's darker than I normally like. If this was a normal-ish fantasy show, where if I knew the deaths were going to stick, I probably wouldn't watch it. But I know that with the reset power, Subaru's been... I mean, and that's kind of the thing, is Subaru wants to fix things. And so he's trying to... So he's saving people, and ultimately, you know, I suspect there will be a good ending to the show. I don't think it's going to end with a bunch of our main characters dead and everybody miserable, I hope. I'm a little worried that it's going to go dark like that, but for the moment, pretty decent. So, yeah, so that's the show. Like I said, it's actually really interesting. It is streaming on Crunchyroll if you're interested in checking it out. Crunchyroll.com. And yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a lot of show, and like I said, it hits a lot of the buttons that I like. I like the trapped in the fantasy world aspect of the show. I actually kind of enjoy the Groundhog Day aspect of it, because Groundhog Day is one of my favorite movies. So it's kind of neat to see him rewind. And like I said, I suspect his powers tied in with pride, if he really is like supposedly an avatar of pride or whatever they're referring to them as. I can kind of see how that would work as a pride power. Because he wants to be the hero, and B, he wants everything to come out the way he sees it as what would be perfect. So it's prideful to want, and prideful to expect that everything will turn out the way you want it to. So his power may be that whenever things aren't turning out the way he wants it to, and he dies, it resets back to allow him the chance to kind of fix things. I'm not entirely sure, especially since his last reset is after a few fairly serious blunders that he made with his fight with Amelia and stuff. So his fight with Amelia is sticking. He's not able to go back and fix that. But he has been able to go back and fix all the deaths and stuff, so at least there's that. So we'll see how it goes. Fantastic episode, though. Wow. Brutal episode. Holy crap. But really good. A lot of fun. Check it out if you're interested. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. These videos are made possible by the wonderful support of my Patreon backers. If you're interested in checking that out and seeing some of the other stuff I do, please check out the link in the description below. It's patreon.com/Bulldrek. Have a good one, guys, and we'll catch you next time.